Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you again for joining us at Advancing AI 2025. This is AMD's premier event to talk about AI innovation with partners, developers, analysts, customers, and everybody wants to know all the exciting things we're doing in our roadmap and we're doing with our partners. My name is Jason Bana. I work in our client division, and I'm here to talk about AI development at the edge in PCs and how AI PCs are going to truly transform the enterprise, particularly in those commercial PCs. So with that, I'd love to dive in and talk to you more about our exciting technology. So as we discussed this morning in the keynote, AMD has an end-to-end, truly complete AI portfolio. It is the most complete AI portfolio in the industry. Whether it's our EPYC products, Instinct accelerators, Pensando networking, or AMD Versal, we have every type of application, every type of industry covered with our AI solutions. But one of the key things I want to talk to you about today is what we're doing at the edge in endpoints in our Ryzen product line, specifically our Ryzen AI processors. This is where we're bringing AI technology into the enterprise, into users' hands, and the ability to do local AI compute on PCs. So it's a very important piece. If you look at an enterprise, you look at a company, how they deploy AI, this is a key piece of that end-to-end ecosystem. Now, why endpoint AI or PC AI is so critical and why it's differentiated from everything we do in an AI end-to-end perspective is that it provides significant advantages of security and privacy because all of the data, all the compute, all the transactions stay on device. It doesn't need to go into the cloud. Yes, there are secure cloud solutions, there are secure on-prem solutions, but there's nothing more secure than keeping that data on device, local to the user. It has the lowest latency. If you think about things like communication, audio, video, the AI application for those things is very, very low latency. It has to be super responsive. And local AI, endpoint AI, is the only way you can get that fastest, lowest latency to the user experience from an AI compute perspective. It allows for internet-free remote operation. A lot of these are typically mobile devices that you see people taking onto a plane, people taking away from their Wi-Fi or away from WAN connections, and they want to still do those experiences. They want to still build models. They want to creatively develop content. They want to get things done, but they want to do that remotely. And that's one of the things that's very unique and special about the endpoint, about the PC, is that it can go untethered and you can still get things done. So something very unique about endpoint AI is that ability to get disconnected and do things internet-free. And then finally, AI has costs associated with it. Cost to operate AI models in the cloud, cost to operate or deploy endpoint solutions or deploy enterprise solutions for computing AI. And by offloading a lot of that AI compute to the endpoint, to the end device, you're able to offset a lot of that cost because you can do that locally. You don't need to send that model up to the cloud. You don't need to send that data up to the cloud. You can do it locally without those infrastructure costs. So the place that endpoint AI and PC AI play in this overall ecosystem is very unique and very special. Now, AMD has the most complete portfolio to address AI PC and address endpoint AI in the industry. We have a complete suite of solutions addressing different types of users and really meeting users where they're at based on what they want to do in the enterprise, in their commercial environment. For mainstream AI PC solutions, we have the Ryzen Pro 200 series you see at the bottom. And for folks that want to run local models that are a bit smaller, but they still want great compute, the Ryzen Pro 200 is a great mainstream commercial solution to deliver that. This is something that AMD innovated. We were the first to bring AI PCs into the x86 infrastructure, and we've been doing that for over 3 years. So this is a technology not only are we getting into, but we've been evolving for the past 3 years. Stepping up from the Ryzen Pro 200 is the Ryzen AI Pro 300 series. So this is a much more performant AI PC. It has a more performant core with our Zen 5 core. I'll talk a little bit more about that performance later. It has a more performant neural processor. Our AMD XDNA 2 technology, which is the name we give to our neural processing capability, is much more performant at that step up and has over 50 TOPS in many of those configurations, delivering great token rates, great time to first token, great performance on those AI models local on the device. So a big step up. One other thing that it supports, it is a truly end-to-end Copilot Plus portfolio. I'll talk more about Copilot Plus and what it is and what it does, but it is a key partnership with Microsoft on how we bring AI experiences onto the PC. And then finally, at the top of the stack, we have an amazing AI development platform. We call this the Ryzen AI Max Pro series, and this is something you can truly put the largest AI models on device. You can put up to 70 billion parameter models local on your device, experiment, tune models, play around with things without utilizing cloud resources, without taking that expense. You can do that locally. We enable that through a much, much higher bandwidth interface to our graphics engine. And AI is both compute intensive, but it's also bandwidth intensive. So having that capability to do those large models local on the device and that next generation of AI models on a PC, the Ryzen AI Max Pro delivers that. So mainstream users, we've got a great AI PC for the smaller models. For Copilot Plus and larger models, we've got Ryzen AI Pro 300. And then for developers, workstation users, those very, very high-end use cases, we have the Ryzen AI Max Pro series. So a full range of solutions to address AI PC in the enterprise. Now the AI PC piece of it, the AI piece of it is very important, but an AI PC or PC in general has to get things done. It has to be focused on all of those other factors, particularly workflows and compute to run applications. The real world performance of our Ryzen AI 300 series is best in class. If you compare this to Intel's 200V series, also known as Lunar Lake, our productivity performance when you're running Microsoft Office plus Microsoft Teams is 1.44x faster than the competition in a like-for-like system. So this is not something where we picked a system we like, they picked a system they like. This is a like-for-like system, and we show stronger performance on those Office applications, particularly running in a multi-threaded application with communications and collaboration apps like Microsoft Teams. And then for true multi-core performance for doing content creation apps and those very high-end type applications that require a lot of compute, we have 1.5x the raw core performance compared to that same solution, the Intel 200V series. So all the pieces outside of just neural processing, CPU compute, GPU compute, we're in the lead there as well. So you get a great computing solution, whether you're using the AI features or not. So it's a great, great product. Now pivoting a bit to the AI performance, and this is all performance that is local on the device. If you take one of the more recent models like DeepSeek, depending on which model you're running, you see up to a 60 or 80% performance advantage in tokens per second running these LLMs local on the device compared to the Intel 200V series. So not only do we add these features and add this capability, but we want to do it in a performant fashion. If you do AI locally, you don't want to suffer in performance, getting responses to LLMs, getting responses to chatbots. You want that to be fast. You want it to feel like you're doing it in the cloud. And so our advantage in raw performance there provides that. There are also some emerging benchmarks that are coming out in the market right now, specifically one called Procyon, which mixes a few neural processing workloads that utilize that XDNA engine, and across Qualcomm, Intel, and AMD's latest solution, our AI Pro 300 series, AMD is demonstrably in the lead on those benchmarks. And those are independent benchmarks. They're done by third parties that have a mix of AI workloads pulled into that. And we are far in the lead on that Procyon benchmark. So if somebody selects an AMD solution for local AI, they get best in class performance versus both of our competitors in the PC space. Now we've got great hardware, we've got great performance, we have great platforms, but at the end of the day, you need experiences that take advantage of this. It can't just be dark silicon. We need experiences that people can touch and feel and get benefit from those AI engines. So I'm going to talk through the rest of this talk about how you can use this in a couple different fashions and a couple different ways that AI PCs are evolving in the enterprise. First of all, the Copilot Plus standard, or the Copilot Plus set of experiences, this launched mid last year with a few key examples of how you can use AI on an AI PC. A lot of these were very consumer-specific experiences or consumer-centric experiences. And what we've seen evolve over the past year and a half is more enterprise applications for Copilot Plus, more ways to speed up workflows and get real monetary advantage out of running Copilot Plus in the enterprise. And the quantity of experiences, Microsoft has released multiple updates to these experiences over the past year that allow for more features, more capabilities, and pulls more users into AI PC because it's becoming that much more compelling. So I'm going to run a quick video from our friends at Microsoft that talks about what we're doing in Copilot Plus, particularly in the enterprise. AMD and Microsoft worked hand in hand together at an architectural level through the entire development phase to bring those experiences to market. And a focus was enabling faster workflows, getting more benefit from your workforce by leveraging these AI features. Now, some of that was moving very, very quickly. I know it was a fast-paced video. So I want to double click into a couple things that were really unique about Copilot Plus in the enterprise, particularly on this latest wave of features that have released from Copilot Plus, and all of this uses that XDNA neural processing engine that's in the Ryzen AI Pro 300 series. First of all, click to do. So what this can do is anything that's on screen, you can interact with it utilizing AI tools in a seamless manner. So any text on screen in any application, any image on screen in any application, you can simply click on it and possibly rewrite the text, possibly email the text to somebody else, possibly ask a question about what the text means. And this happens in a very seamless manner. You don't have to take the text, go into a chat bot, go into go into a website. You can do it real time on screen and get that instant response, which allows you to get onto that next thing. Live captions is truly a remarkable tool for global enterprises. There are a lot of language barriers that global enterprises face in communication and collaboration. So being able to communicate from English to Spanish, English to Japanese, across those language barriers in a real-time fashion based on that neural processing is a very unique ability to get things done and find information from your teammates in the enterprise. And then finally, I know one thing that I struggle with is keeping all my files in the right place, knowing where anything is. I don't remember as well as I used to, so being able to search based on context, based on semantics, saying, hey, what was I working on last week? Tell me more about it. What was that PowerPoint? It can find that instantly. So all of these features, again, based on that NPU, based on this Copilot Plus standard, and there are more features to come. This is just one piece of how AI PC is being enabled on the endpoint on those Ryzen AI solutions. The second big piece I want to talk about is third-party applications. So the Windows AI Foundry, which is powered by Windows ML, this was launched at Build a few weeks back, and this is something we've been in deep partnership with Microsoft on. And the idea here is to lower the barriers of entry for development on the NPU, on the GPU, to develop AI-driven applications. We've seen a tremendous response from the development community supporting this because it is a write once, deploy anywhere type solution. So if you write for one NPU or one standard, you only get to access that part of the market. If you develop based on Windows ML, you're able to spread that application across a number of endpoints and get more reach for what you're trying to do with that application. So it is a great development standard that we partner with Microsoft on, and all of that works on our Ryzen AI Pro 300 solution. One of the areas where we see third-party developers take advantage of this Windows AI Foundry or that Windows ML standard is in the security space. One thing that's very critical for a commercial PC, for an enterprise PC, is to be able to interact securely. There are concerns like nefarious attacks, ransomware, phishing, things like that, that IT managers are very concerned about in the enterprise, and it's how they make a lot of their key decisions, what agents they put on device, and things like that. The NPU and neural processing allows for new paradigms of security capabilities on device. So we partnered with BufferZone, which has an AI-based anti-phishing application which responds instantly before you respond to a phishing attempt, before you respond to a website that is trying to get your data. It responds instantly, it detects it using that NPU and allows the user to react and avoid that situation. AI decisions within the enterprise and making those AI decisions in a secure manner. We've partnered with Dynamo AI on that. And then we've also partnered with McAfee for videos that are coming across different workforces or across different teams to search for deepfakes, search for intellectual property issues on video, and it can do that in a real-time fashion based on that NPU. So there are a number of early security applications that are using that Windows ML standard and using our XDNA engine to build those things local and develop a more secure commercial PC. Now, what I want to talk about specifically of that list is the BufferZone No Cloud Anti-Phishing. So again, phishing is a very serious concern. There's a big issue with users getting these attacks, getting pulled into possibly clicking on emails or possibly going to websites where they're getting asked to provide either corporate data or personal data that they don't want to provide. So it's one of the biggest concerns that CIOs and ITDMs face in their enterprise today. What BufferZone developed is an NPU-based, no cloud, you don't even need to be on the web for this to work, but an anti-phishing application that leverages this Ryzen AI technology. So I want to show a video from one of our partners, he's the CTO of BufferZone, to talk a little bit about how this works and how they partnered with AMD to bring this technology on the device.
Hello everyone. My name is Dr. Ran Dubin. I am the CTO of BufferZone Security. Buffers on Safe Workspace is an endpoint security solution that prevents external attacks with application isolation and our no-cloud AI technology. With privacy at the core, no-cloud AI runs deep learning models directly on the endpoint, using the device's NPU integrated GPU or CPU without sending any user data to the cloud. Our anti-phishing solution leverages AMD hardware to stop phishing attacks in real time, protecting users while keeping sensitive data private. Through our collaboration with AMD, we accelerate AI on AMD hardware using Onyx, bringing buffer zone innovation to customer faster. Thank you, AMD, from the buffer zone team.
So what you just heard there is very exciting for a few reasons. One, all the data stays local on the device. Anything you were about to provide stays local to that application and does not go to that site and does not go anywhere. It also is super responsive based on that NPU technology, and it operates constantly. And one of the things about constant applications is they can consume resources. But because of the way we develop the NPU, it can operate constantly at a very low power and extends your battery life. So you get fast response on phishing attempts, your data stays private, and it operates at a very low power on those deployed devices. So that's a unique new third-party application that leverages that Windows ML standard and uses our XDNA technology. Now, the last and third major category I want to talk about is the one I'm personally the most excited about, and I think it's truly going to transform AI PCs and get folks more excited about what we're doing in this space. And this is local agentic AI. One of the more modern innovations that's happening in the application space is MCP, or Model Context Protocol. What this allows LLMs to do is to communicate directly with applications in an interactive manner, essentially a port into that application, and allows them to communicate seamlessly. And so one way to think about this is all the things that you normally do in your application, you find that menu, you go click that box, you try to remember where that menu is, you remember how to do that task. Some of these applications are very, very intensive and complex. Being able to interact with an application via an LLM, just in plain language, being able to talk to it just like you're talking to a human about what you want to do in that application, and it just doing it for you, checking with you if it's the right thing, and then taking many, many of those mundane steps for you is going to be truly transformative in applications. And again, it's going to allow people to get things done faster, even on applications that they have little familiarity with. So this is one of the places that I see spanning across a number of applications. A lot of apps have already started to support MCP, and we're able to deploy local language or large language models that can talk directly to those apps interactively and prompt applications, again, in a natural way, as opposed to going through menu after menu after menu to get things done. And again, all of this happens locally on the device. One of the workflows that we developed early on, or we partnered with one of our application developers early on, is a very challenging application called Blender, which is a rendering app. It requires quite a bit of understanding and expertise. It's a powerful, powerful application, but you have to know how it works. You have to know where the menus are, where the features are. These are all very specific things that you learn over time. But what we did is, given that this application supports MCP, that interaction with LLMs, we paired that up with the Llama 3.2 billion model, local on the device, allowed the two to talk, and we were able to prompt this application, and this could be used on any application that supports MCP. We were able to prompt this application rather than having to interact with it. And then once prompted, we can do whatever we want to do to that content we're creating, and then we can use the application interactively. So I want to show a quick demo as to how we paired Blender, again, a very advanced rendering application, with Llama 3.2, and we're able to prompt things rather than having to go through all those steps.
To show the potential of agentic AI, we're going to demonstrate how it can empower a user with little to no knowledge about complex tools to actually create a scene in Blender. a popular open source 3D modeling and animation software package. The scene already appears to have an object in it, so let's get the AI agent to help. In simple language, we'll ask it to clear the scene to start fresh. One easy command, and the clutter's gone. Now let's see what we can create. Let's start with something simple, a cube right at the center of the scene. And let's ask the agent to make it red. Another simple language request, and the result is exactly as ordered. Finally, let's kick things up a notch with something more involved and complex. First, we'll ask the agent to clear the scene again, which it does easily as it did before. But this time, let's ask it to create a complete 3D scene with the following description. A simple desk with a computer, a lamp, and a coffee mug on it. And there it is, exactly what we requested from the AI agent in simple language anyone can understand. This is the power of agentic AI, accomplishing complex tasks by simply asking the agent for the end result. An AI assistant that works out what you need from start to finish, creatively, intuitively, and quickly. In this case, creating a 3D scene just became a conversation. This is just a hint of the power of agentic AI.
So one of the things you saw there, everybody's familiar with interacting with AI image generation tools. And it generates a fixed image and you can manipulate it. But this is actually interacting with a very complex rendering application. And what you saw this user do at the end is after they prompted it, they were able to color the desk. They were able to interact with it. And so they took a lot of those mundane steps out of the process, sped up their workflow, and got to the creative phase. And again, we expect to see this on more and more applications to come, more and more local agentic AI. And this is something you could only really do on local AI PCs. Now, having these capabilities, you've got the hardware, you've got the software, you've got the applications and the experiences. That's all great, but you need the platforms. And this is another place where AMD truly stands out. Our commercial Copilot+ portfolio is best in class. If you look at us versus Qualcomm, if you look at us versus Intel, AMD has the largest collection of devices based on Copilot+ or commercial Copilot+. And what this allows is a lot of variability and selection, whether you support HP, ASUS, Acer, Dell, Lenovo, regardless of which OEM you partner with in your enterprise, you're able to get that Ryzen AI Pro 300 solution. Also the number of form factors and experiences you can get, whether that's all-in-ones, notebooks, desktops. You have all those options based on our portfolio. So this is a place where AMD truly stands out in the accessibility of getting to these AI PCs based on that solution. So we expect to continue to maintain this lead of options of Copilot+ platforms. So just to close, we truly believe we have a transformative technology of AI local on the device, AI PCs powered by the Ryzen Pro 200 series, the Ryzen AI Pro 300, and the Ryzen AI Max Pro. Those three solutions, regardless of where you're coming into AI PCs or what you want to do, we have a solution for that type of user in the enterprise. We have leadership AI performance in addition to regular PC performance. You saw both of those. We're developing real-world next-gen experiences, whether that's agentic, Copilot+, or third-party applications. We're developing all of those in parallel to really get more value out of somebody who goes and deploys an AI PC into the enterprise. And then lastly, we have the broadest OEM commercial AI PC portfolio in the market, outrivaling both of our competitors in the expansion of those form factors. So with that, hope you found this useful. I want to say thank you for joining us at Advancing AI 2025. I know there's exciting fireside chat coming up next, so I'm going to run over to that as well. But thank you for talking to us today about AI PC and AI in general. So thank you, everybody.